Okay, let's go. Now let's do the second program, and the second program was something like this. You have to accept a parameter. You have to accept a parameter and return a list. Right? These are the two things. That means the user or you have to. So keywords are here the parameter and the return. That means these are the two things. So parameters we are using within the function, and return we are also using with a function. That means you have to create a function here, right? I'll say def. Let me give the name as the find. You can give any name here. Since it is talking about the parameter, so parameter we are keeping when we are defining a function. Let's say the first parameter I am saying is a, and second parameter I'm saying b, and third parameter I'm saying is c, right? And here I'm saying pass, right? When I'm calling this function, I have to call this function, then I can execute it, right? When I will call this function, if I will run this, at the time it will throw an error. The error will be that three missing positional arguments. Since it is having an agreement that whenever you will call me, here I am calling it, you have to pass me the three arguments. Arguments we are passing whenever we are calling a function, at that time you have to pass these arguments, right? Suppose I will pass here 2, comma 3, comma 4. Here we are saying the passing the three arguments here. If I will run it, so it will not throw any kind of error, right? If I will pass the two arguments, okay, at the time it will say something like this: missing one required positional argument. That means you can't pass the two arguments if it is saying you have to pass me the three parameters. Same thing if I will pass the one, then it will say the different story. If I will not pass anything, it will say the different story, right? Now, as of now, we are having the agreement that whenever you will call me, you will pass me the three arguments. Let's say I'm saying 2, comma 3, comma 4, and the question is saying you have to return a list, and here I will say return let you are and return, and here I will say a, comma b, comma c, right? Now if you will run it, will you get any kind of out? No, definitely you will not get any kind of out, because you are not catching the output here. The return function working is you have to return to a position from where you are calling it. If you don't know what is this argument passing, what are the parameters, what is return function doing here, there is a one video here on this channel by the name Basic of Function. You can check that out. I have almost described everything related to the functions, the important concepts related to the functions, or the basic concepts I will say about the functions. You can check that video. I have discussed all these things. So what we are doing here, we are calling here function, and arguments we are passing. Here we are having the parameters which is catching it, and here we are creating one list here, and we are returning that list, and it's being printed here. Right now it will print the list here, right? So as I told you, if I will give here only the two things here, two parameters, at the time it is showing the error, right? Now you should not trust the user, what the user will give you here, right? Whatever the user will do, you have to handle that certain thing, and your program should not crash here, right? Suppose if the user is giving 2, at the time it should work. If the user is giving 3, it should work. If the user is not giving anything, at the time it should also work. If the user is giving the many things, at the time it should also work. If user is giving many things, it should also work at that time, right? Getting this thing now, it is saying takes three positional arguments, but four were given. It's saying I will take the three, but you are giving me one, two, three, and four, right? That means it should work at any circumstances. For that, you have something called as the args. You have something called as the args. For that, I will say star of a, and here, let me say something like this. If I will do directly a, let me show you what is happening here. Okay, it is returning me some value, right? It is returning me value. Is this a list? No, this is not a list. This is a tuple. If you want to check it out, let me do something like this. I will say ls equal to this thing. That means whatever it is returning, we are storing it to the ls, or we can say we are assigning it to the ls. And I will say print ls here. Then I will say print, and here I will say type of else. Type, we can say we are asking what is the type that you are sending mark from here. You can, if I will give a real life example, I have given this example many times. Like, if I'm telling you what's your gender, you will say I'm a male, I'm a female, or I'm having some kind of other gender, right? There are n number of genders now, right? Same thing is here. You are going to this ls and you are telling the ls what's your data type, and ls will tell you my data type is this. So let's check what data type is having the ls here. Ls is saying my data type is tuple, right? It's like that. You are asking the ls what's your gender, right? He's saying my gender is tuple. By gender we mean here what data type. Getting this thing? But the question is saying you have to return a list. Simply we can do here typecasting. I'll say list of a. I'll say list of a. Okay. Now it will say okay the type is list now. Fine. This is also possible. There is one more way here. Suppose if I pass here a couple of more elements here. Let's say I'm passing this, comma, this thing. I'm passing this thing. That means it should work at that time also. Right? It is working fine and it's returning the list. There is one more way. If you will not do like this, there is one more way. I will say here I will create one list ls equal to, and I will say empty list here. And here I can iterate over this args. I'll say for var in a, and here I will say ls dot append, and what we have to append the val, right? Okay. Okay. So here we will return what ls. This else is the local list here, local variable we can see also, and this else is different thing here. There's a global list, and I'm printing the else here. Okay. Or let me give the different name here. I will say list here, and I will print here list. Can I access the ls here? Find the video. You will get the answer. Okay. Now if I check it out, it is giving me the output. Yeah, that means this is also possible. If you want to visualize what is happening here, I will say here uh, uh, print val is comma val, and if you want to visualize what is happening to the list at every average, I will say print the list looks like. Okay, and here I will say comma L. Okay, see here what will happen. Val is 222, that means first it is taking the val as 222 here. That means this a val is receiving 222. That means whatever you are passing here, it is being stored in A. Then I'm iterating over this A, which is an arg, right? First element it is receiving is 222, and you are creating a list here, and the list is having the 222 first element. Then it is going back to this for loop, right? In that for loop now, this value is receiving what? 55, and it is printing here 55. Then it is appending the 55 to the ls. Then it's printing the list that is 22 or 222 55. Then is receiving 5065856, that is the this element. Then appending like that this happens, right? It is also returning the list here after completion of this for loop. If we will pass the return here, then maybe at the first iteration itself it will end, right? Why it is happening, you should understand it, right? Okay. This is one more way. One more way is here. Now, suppose if I'm not passing here anything. Suppose if I'm not passing here anything, what will happen at that time? Okay. So you are receiving an empty list because you are not passing any argument here. Nothing is received by this. So it will not crash. Previously it was crashing. What if I will give the only the two elements, 23, 24? At that time, it will run fine. If I will give the three elements, still it will run fine, right? If I will give the n elements, still it will run fine. Okay, this is also the one of the way, possible way. One more way is here. I will say something like this. I'll say okay, for x in A, and I will say yeah, X, right? That means it will iterate over this A, and whatever the X will receive here, and it will punch the X here into this list, and then I am returning the ls, and it will work the find here as well, right? This is the one of the mostly, right? Now I can pass the different arguments here. I will say hi, comma, hello, right? That means it should work at the time also, right? It's working fine. I hope you understand that. That means we have done it using the three ways. But you should have the clarity of the basics, then you will understand these things. Okay? Thank you. Meet you in the next video. If you have any kind of leave in the comments and watch the video that I have done on the functions as well. Thank you.